Hi everyone. Slightly different time in the day today to do a lesson. So I don't know if anyone's actually going to join. Firstly, yeah, I mean it's been an interesting week. I got a little bit sick last week. I wasn't sure if it was coronavirus. I've sent my test off. I'll know in a couple of days whether it was or not. But I feel pretty much back to normal, apart from maybe a little bit blocked up. But yeah, generally doing a lot better than I was over the weekend. So sorry I couldn't show up on Friday. And yeah, I would like to teach a lesson today that has some influence from both Feldenkrais and Qigong. And it's it's a lesson that I think has kind of historical relevance or spiritual relevance going back in many different traditions. So the lesson I'm going to be teaching today is bringing the hands together into a prayer position. So this prayer position, obviously you see it in different pictures. You see yoga teachers doing it. Maybe you see it statues in Christianity, people standing with their hands together. In Buddhism, in Taoism, there was this practice. This representation of this particular posture or hand position is in many different cultures. So today's lesson is going to explore this a little bit, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of the Qigong tradition that I practice. Within Qigong, when we looked a little bit last week at this principle or concept of the Dantian and how you can activate the Dantian. And that's like the first step or first stage in the Qigong practice. So it's kind of like an initiation or an introduction to Qigong in some way. So today I'm going to kind of give a little overview of the concepts of the energy channels. And this may seem pretty abstract to you. You may feel that it's imaginary or made up, but just give the exercise a chance. See what you feel as you go through it, as you progress through it, and at the end, maybe we can kind of talk about it, and you can let me know. So one of the things that I think is great in the crossover between Feldenkrais and Qigong is that you can articulate that a lot of these concepts are really about developing body awareness. So if you have a problem or you don't understand the concept of energy or channels, then if you just think about it as developing body awareness, you really don't need to worry and get kind of conflicted about it. Okay, so that's a starting point. So the first thing I'd like you to do is bring your hands together and very gently just close your eyes, and with your hands together, just feel yourself in your sitting position and just feel how that feels initially. Notice as you bring your hands together, whether your fingers are pressed together, if there's contact across your whole hand, or if there's places where they're not in contact. And just take a moment to kind of feel that position. Notice how high your elbows are. Good. And just as you've got your eyes closed, feel your breathing. And as you feel your breathing, maybe you can feel that as you breathe in, you breathe out, that there's a slight upwards and downwards movement in the chest, in the hands, sorry. So as the chest raises and falls as you breathe in and breathe out, the hands also have a kind of related movement. They also move up and down slightly. And just see if you can feel that. Take a moment, 30 seconds or so. Good. And it may be that this hand position is not comfortable for you. So what we're going to do is we're just kind of have a little rest, bring your hands back down. Keep your eyes closed if you can. And just take another moment just to really kind of bring your attention back to your internal experience. And when you're ready, bring your hands back up in front of your chest. And now what we're going to do is we're going to find a kind of optimum position for the hands to be in. So keeping the fingers in a upward pointed direction, I'd like you to move your hands very slowly forwards away from the body and then backwards towards the body, all the way down to touching your chest. Forwards away from the body, very slowly. Allow your shoulders, your chest, your elbows to be part of the movement. And see if you can keep breathing as you do this. Notice whether you breathe in as you take your hands away from your body or you breathe out when you take your hands away from the body. Good. And notice for yourself as you bring your hands slightly further away from the body and you bring your hands slightly further away and slightly further away and slightly further towards, is there a point in that movement that the hands feel the lightest? As you move your hands between kind of going a little bit away from the body, the elbows extending slightly, opening up the back, and then bringing everything back in towards the chest, where do the hands feel the lightest? What's the kind of comfortable position for your hands to be in, the most comfortable position? And when you find it, just stay there for a second and make a mental note of it. So if you notice that as my hands, and you'd have to open your eyes to notice, but if you open your eyes and notice that as I take my hands away from my chest, my elbows are kind of moving slightly outwards. And as I bring my hands back, they're moving slightly inwards. So it's creating some roundness across my back, opening up my elbows, and then letting in everything kind of come back. Okay, then take a rest. Bring your hands down, just take a little rest. And hopefully you made a mental note of where your hands were in the most comfortable position. So the first movement we're going to do is going to explore what's called the Zongmai in the Chinese esoteric systems. And this is the translation for this is the central channel. The central channel is talked about in a couple of different religious practices. In fact, the two that form the basis for the Qigong system that I practice, Taoism and Buddhism, they both talk about this central channel. As we go on to the other channels, different traditions talk about different ones. So when you're ready, bring your hands back to this middle position and find where your hands feel the most comfortable, where it feels that your breathing is easy. And very slowly, very gently begin to lift your hands upwards towards the area of your throat, and then take your hands back down towards the area of the chest. And just slowly, slowly do that. Make this movement upwards towards the area of the throat and downwards towards the area in the middle of the chest. And don't push it at either side. Feel that you can make this a very comfortable movement between these two places. Keep your breathing smooth. Keep your arms relaxed and see if you can kind of stay in this light position with the hands so that the hands feel quite light as you're doing this. Good. Notice as you bring the hands up, do you breathe in or breathe out? As you bring the hands down, do you breathe in or breathe out? And just feel as you're moving your hands, it's not just about your hands. You can feel the elbows move, the shoulders, the shoulder blades. You could even feel the back. And if you close your eyes very gently, close your eyes, and just as you're breathing, just watch your hands, sort of internally watch them with your eyes. So your eyes following your hands as they move down towards your chest, and your eyes following your hands as they move upwards towards your throat. So you're just trying this movement a few times between the chest and the throat. If you have heard of chakras before, this is moving the hands between the heart and the throat. Good. Okay, so when you're ready, leave your hands up by your throat. Leave your hands up by your throat. And then very gently, just move your hands slightly further away from you and slightly towards your throat. Just very gently. Do that a few times. Notice again, as you do this, do you breathe in as you take the hands away, or do you breathe out as you take the hands away? Just do it very slowly. Just exploring this space and feel, where do the hands feel the lightest? Where do they feel the most comfortable? How far away or how close to the body? Okay, when you found that place, just begin to move your hands upwards again and move them in front of the forehead so that you bring the hands all the way up in front of the forehead and then come back down to the point of the throat. And just do that. Go between those two a few times. The throat all the way up to the forehead, and the forehead back down to the throat. And again, it's not just the movement of the hands. You notice as I do it that my elbows are moving up, my shoulders are adjusting, my shoulder blades. And if I have my eyes closed, I can be following the movement of my hands with my eyes. Do it really slowly and see if you breathe in as you move up or if you breathe out as you move up. Good. And then go all the way down so that you come back to the point in front of the chest, and then come all the way up and go all the way to the head. What's the point? It's a good question. If in 1 second, when I bring the hands down, I'll explain more a little. So you may have missed the beginning of the video, but just try this for a second, taking the hands from the point in front of the chest all the way up to the middle of the forehead. And back down. And just do it a few times and see whether you breathe in as you come up and breathe out as you come down. Okay, and then just bring your hands down and take a rest. And I'll explain what the point is. So it's a good question. It's useful to understand this stuff and make it relevant to yourself. So I'm happy to try and answer that question. So within the Chinese traditions, there's this concept of energy channels in the body. And the way that they understand energy channels is that if there's some blockage within the channel, that has an impact on the general mobility of blood and qi around your system, and that has an impact on your health. So the energy exercises designed in Qi Gong are designed to clear the pathways of the energy channels so that there's a freer flow of information within the body. From a purely physical Western perspective, the point, if you aren't thinking about the energy side of things, is really to do is developing your own connection in your body and becoming more aware of what you're doing, and understanding your body's ability to move and to learn. So doing a slow movement that allows you to feel what your body is doing as you're doing it gives your nervous system some information that it can adjust with and make changes in your body. From a Western perspective, the point is comfort, and from an Eastern perspective, the point is clearer channels for better health. So I hope that explains that. When you're ready, if you bring your hands back to the middle and in front of the chest, and just close your eyes and very gently take your hands away and towards, and just do that a few times. Notice which direction you use the breath with. Do you breathe in as you take the hands away, breathe out as you bring them back, or vice versa? And Darren, please let me know if that clarifies your question. Good, and then bring your hands up to the point in front of your throat, and the same thing, bring the hands away and towards, keeping the fingers pointing upwards. And notice if you breathe in as you take the hands away, or you breathe out as you take the hands away. Good, and then move up to the forehead. Very slowly move up to the forehead, bringing the hands in front of the forehead, and the same thing, breathing in or breathing out as you take the hands away. You feel what feels right for you. Good, and then from the hands being in front of the forehead, just look up and let the arms travel upwards. Let the arms travel upwards as far as they come comfortably, and then bring them back all the way down to the chest, in front of the middle of the chest. And then just do that movement a few times, following the hands upwards, looking at the hands as you go up, downwards all the way to the middle of the chest, keeping your hands in this comfortable position through the whole process. Good. So now this is the whole of the central channel. And we were just doing sections of it, the whole of the Zongmai, down to the middle of the chest. In fact, it's not the whole of it because it goes downwards into the ground as well, but it's the top half. Notice if you're breathing in as you move your hands up, breathing out as your hands come down, or vice versa. And just do it a few times. Good. Just bring your hands back down and take a little rest. If anyone else has any questions, if they want to ask anything about this exercise, please feel free. The central channel, the pathway that it follows is actually on the inside edge of the spine. And you can kind of track it all the way through the body, or it's described all the way through from the body, from the top of the head all the way down to the perineum at the bottom of the body. So it's like a tube running through the middle of the body. Again, if that particular concept doesn't make any sense to you, it's totally okay just to be doing this movement to develop your own sense of comfort and mobility. Like, that's a really valid perspective. So what I want to do now is I want to take your hands over to the left side of your body and go back and do this movement with the hands, but the hands kind of operating on the line, on a line on the left side of the body. So the same thing, the hands coming all the way up and all the way down. And actually, I'm going to specify the breathing. So what I want you to do is, as you bring the hands up, you're going to breathe in. And as you bring the hands down, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good. One more time. Good. Bringing the hands back to the middle. Taking the hands over to the right side of the body, imagining there's a line on the right side of the body, and taking the hands up again, breathing in. Good. Bringing the hands back to the middle of the chest. Back to the middle of the chest. And just again, a few times, bring the hands forwards, away from the body, and backwards towards the body. And just see if you can kind of really make this a light, soft movement. So the whole of the back is involved. The breath is free. There's no sense of strain or effort, or pulling. Notice what your breathing's doing. Do you breathe in as the hands come away? Do you breathe out as the hands come away? Good. And bring the hands down and rest. So this last exercise was operating within the concept of the left and right channel of the body. The left and right channel of the body are talked about more within the Buddhist practices, not so much in the Taoist practices. So when I say practices, I mean esoteric or tantric practices. So in the Taoist system, instead of using the left and right channel, they use the front and back channel, the Renmai and the Dumai. So both systems discuss the central channel, the Zongmai, but only the Taoist system discusses the front and back channel, and only the Buddhist system discusses the left and right channel. And there may be exceptions to that, but that's kind of a general kind of understanding of it. So the last thing I want to do is the front and back channel, and it's a bit difficult to do in sitting to actually demonstrate. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have the hands behind the back of the head in this position. Yeah. Behind this back of the head in this position. Yeah. And you're going to push both hands up to the ceiling so that the hands come like this. And then bring them both back together. So the hands come like this and down the front of the body. Okay. And then we're going to move the hands back behind the head. Breathe in. Open the hands up. This is opening the back channel. Bringing the hands together, elongated above the head, and then breathing out as the hands come down. And just do that. See if you can find that movement. Don't worry if it's not completely right. But what I want you to feel is that you can breathe in and breathe out. In fact, you can leave the hands together through the whole process if it's comfortable to do that. So the hands behind the head, breathing in. Breathing out and bringing the hands back down the middle of the body. Good. One last time. Breathing in. Breathing out as the hands come down. Let the hands come all the way down so that they open, and just place the hands resting with the back of the palms resting on your thighs. And if you haven't, just close your eyes for a second. And just feel any internal sensation or any internal effect you feel from doing those exercises. What's happening in your body? What's happening in your sense of yourself? You know, is your sense of yourself being clarified in some way, or do you feel more mobile, or do you feel brighter? Is there some change from the beginning of the lesson? Good. So that's like a really, really brief introduction to those 5 channels of the body. And, you know, a very simple movement that kind of looks into this concept of the channels. Again, if the energetic side of things is of no interest to you, there's really a lot of benefit just doing this, doing it slowly, paying attention to your movement. The brain, as you're doing this and you're paying attention to the movement that you're doing, your brain is switched onto it, devoting a lot of attention to it, and that will allow you to learn and make changes and to feel habits, and feel any tensions that you've got in your body, and maybe those tensions will change as a result of the movement. So it's kind of got both aspects to it. So hopefully in one of those aspects, or even both of them, you've felt some benefit. So yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback about that one. It's kind of a little bit more into the Qigong side of things. I did discuss the Dantian last week, but I think that there was kind of a Feldenkrais flavor to it. So this week, this lesson was much more Qigong based. So I'm really happy to hear your feedback and whether it makes sense, if you needed more clarification. So yeah, tomorrow I will be teaching a slightly different lesson that comes more from the Feldenkrais tradition. So yeah, tune in. That's going to be back normal time, 11 o'clock, although having looked at the amount of people that have signed on at 5 o'clock, there does seem to be a difference. So maybe that's something I'll think about going forwards. But tomorrow will be at 11 in the morning. Hope you enjoyed it. Hi, Simone. Thanks for watching. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.